Hello and welcome to the Kings of Things competition 2017. I'm your host, Topsy, and this is my co-host, Escape the Fuzzy. So, I have the results right here. I printed them out because reason. So, before I start with the results, I have some things to talk about. First thing is change of the rules. I actually have two of them. First one is we added a new category to the rating system. It's called complexity. It means if you have like, take for example Jerry Turtle's submission. It was a very good thing. It was very accurate. It was beautiful. It was nice. The thing is, it was completely repetitive. Nothing really interesting in there. And it was just long, way too long for what it is. It was just completely the same. He was just thinking the percussion the whole time, and it was just, it was 4 minutes long, and then you just sit there and, what happened? What? Even if you wake up, it's still the same. If you skip 1 minute forward, you still see the same, and that shouldn't be a thing. So we added this category with a multiply of 1.4, same as gun variety. So the total of points you can get increased from 69, top cake, to 81. That means some points have changed until we rated them before. We gave them the new category, and then some things have changed again. The second thing is I want to change the boss battle. I think it's just too much for the winner to make a fourth gunsing just to fight me. So I just said, we'll take the winning gunsing from the final round of that person. And then, well, let's say it like that. It works like this. I will jump out of the judges for the final round. My gunsing counts as one of those competitors for the final round, so we have 7 of those. But I can't win. That means if I get more points than the winner, he lost the boss battle. Or all of those people who have less points than me lost the boss battle. If they won against me and got more points than me, then they won the boss battle. Everyone, not only the winner, everyone. And yeah, that's kind of it. Just post your ideas down here. I think it's a better idea than just adding 4 gunsings to that person, because it's already enough. 3 is more than enough. Okay, and now to the third thing. Nothing really about, well, we have 2 people who didn't finish their gunsing. One of them has a good reason. His computer wasn't working, so he couldn't really do it. And one person was just a back talking crack. We all know who it is. I won't say his name, but just Mr. T, get your shit together, please. Well, he's disqualified, of course. And to another person, I will not say his name. Everyone who knows what I'm talking about, please never mention him in our Discord again. Gravity's already pretty pissed about that we just banned about him the whole time. The thing about this person is, he was behaving not really how a person should behave. He was acting very selfish, and, well, to some extent he really thought he's better than everyone. And That's something I cannot accept. I gave him a chance, he fucked it up again, so we just banned him from the competition. Escape and me actually discussed it, and even the judges were on our side. We banned him, even from the Discord, because even there he was behaving like someone who we just don't want in our group. We are in a community, and a community has to work together. Otherwise it wouldn't be a community, right? And if one of those people is just destroying this harmony that works in this community, then this person should go so the harmony can still prevail. Otherwise it would just completely collapse. So that's why we decided to ban this person from the Discord and Kings of Things. So, now that we talked about it, here is it. I won't say anything, just look at it. Whoa, not so fast. I will just pause my video right here. Every time I have a comment from Escape, I will just make a stupid picture of him appear over here. And he will talk about the sync. He sent me a voice file where he just hosted the whole fucking show. And that shouldn't be like that. I will just cut everything about the things away, so he can just fucking host it himself. He's just taking a lot of control right now, even for I am hosting. Okay, stress down. Let's go back to the results. We have Group A. 8th place is Foley. His points are 37.24 from 81. Don't forget, 81 is the max. And he has 37.24.
His choice of weapons was pretty decent, but the big problem with this sync was a lot of frame skips. It was just a lot of frame skips in this sync, and they were like continuously happening as well.
Are you proud of yourself?
To Orb Sheet.
7th place is Orion's Belt with 38.46 points.
Well, Orion's Belt did some really nice cinematics to start off this sync in particular, but I feel like he focused too much on the actual cinematics themselves, and he did not really focus on the rest of the sync, which had a lot of like accuracy issues, a lot of editing quality issues, and some of the choice of weapons weren't really the best, besides maybe the Bastion part.
God, I hate this guy. Number 6 is Kura Miyaki. Oh, yeah, is it me? Kura Miyaki, what the fuck am I put it there? He has 38.46 points.
The only problem with this I see is that the lack of variety of this sync definitely brought this score down, and I think that he could have definitely done a lot better with trying to expand his variety, considering that he was using multiple games, and also I think his choice of weapons in certain points was kind of weak.
Number 5 is Ben Dark. He has points of 43.40.
Well, I really like this sync from Ben Dark in terms of his accuracy and some of the choice of his weapons that he made. But I would say that the weaker portion of this sync came in with the complexity, the editing quality, and the viewing experience. With the complexity, I think that he could have definitely tried to do some, maybe some more difficult songs or some more difficult edit where it was just a casual multi-cod sync. Although a lot of people did this kind of route, and I don't blame him for taking that route either. But I think that he could have tried to step up his game a little bit. But I would say in terms of his sync, I think it was a very good sync, really accurate, and not too many issues with this guy. Except for maybe choice of weapons on the drop, I would say, would be the only issue for me.
Then we have Crusade. I hope I speak it right. He has 46.68 points.
This guy did a mashup, I believe. Yes, he did. But I have to say his CC composition was pretty cool. I really liked that in the sync. But I'd say that his weak points based off of most of the judging would be editing quality and viewing experience, which is really where the big points would be given out for the modifiers. There were certain weapons, though, that did not match up with certain beats, and audio mastering was not the greatest with this particular sync.
I hate fucking motorcycles, these fucking two-tact machines. Oh. Back to the topic. Now we have those people who come through. Third place is Kiddo. He has points of 48.68. That means he's the third place in this group and the first successor who gets to the semifinal.
Looking at Kiddo's sync, I do think that he had a pretty good, solid choice of weapons, I'd say. Unfortunately, though, the consistency of the sync kind of went down a little bit, especially towards the later stages of the sync in terms of consistency. But I do think that good weapons choices there, and it was a nice variety, though. I really liked Kiddo's variety in this particular sync in terms of how he changed it up later on.
Second place is Master VN. He has 54.50 points.
His accuracy and his composition, I really liked it. It was a really nice composition, with Black Ops 3 using an NCS song, actually, which is pretty cool. It made it work really well. And I think that his choice of weapons is great, his gun variety was great, and the only thing I would complain about is later on, it gets kind of repetitive later on, and I think that he should try to find a song that isn't as repetitive later on.
In first place, congratulations to the first place, is Explorer with 63.34 points.
I have to say, this sync was just absolutely amazing from start to finish. Like, you could see that this guy put a lot of work into this sync. And I really love the creative intro in the beginning as well, but the sync itself, I really love the accuracy, the use of the sprays, and also the use of the upgraded weapons in the zombies.
That is a huge jump forward, considering that first and second place are pretty close to be 10 points. Good job, Explorer. So then the persons who got through Group A are Kiddo, Master VN, and Explorer. Now we have Group B.
Now we're going to be moving on to the results from Group B.
I'm hosting. So, on the eighth place is Tremendous. Well, he didn't finish. Get your shit together, Mike.
The fact that he DNF'd is just bad, so we're just going to move on to 7th place.
Number 7 is Minimat. He has 37.08 points.
The biggest complaint with this sync is the fact that it had a lot of missing potential in terms of accuracy and beats that could have been synced. And I do think that there was a lot of inconsistency where the end had a lot more to the sync compared to the beginning, where there was a lot of missing beats, and the end had a lot more, or a lot better accuracy, I should say.
Number 6 is Lightning Bolt with 41.38 points.
The biggest complaint with this sync is the fact that the editing quality scores were really low with this sync because of the lack of good audio mastering with this particular sync, especially when the Borderlands part came up and the other parts of the sync were all mashing up together. And I think that the audio mastering was the key component to this sync that definitely contributed to the loss of points here.
Number 5 is the man of shitty memes, seriously, I can do memes better than that guy, come on. Like, seriously, every time I see Gelson, it's just like, oh, he's not there, what the hell? What about me? I have feelings too. Not very advanced ones, but feelings. It's train OW or Overwatch or whatever that means. He has 43.28 points.
Well, what surprised me to start off this sync was the fact that Train decided to use CSGO. To be honest, I thought he was going to use Overwatch, but in terms of the sync itself, extremely repetitive, just absolutely repetitive. It was just nothing but a percussion loop, this song, and the lack of variety really hurt this sync and really hurt his chances of moving on to the next round here.
Number 4 is Mr. Music Track with exactly 51.80 points.
This was a very good sync, very solid, very accurate throughout, but I think that the complaint with this sync is the fact that it was very repetitive and basic. And I think that the reason why Mr. Music Track finishes 4th and not 3rd is because he didn't really step up his game in terms of complexity. And I think that complexity was definitely one of those key categories for him to try to get those extra points to be able to get him into that next round. But the fact that he made it very basic is the reason why his sync would finish 4th instead of 3rd, where maybe those top 3 sinkers really focused more on adding in that complexity element to the sync.
Now we get to the 3 persons that come through to the semifinals. 3rd place is Shadow Gamer with 59.56 points.
I have to say that this sync was pretty badass. Awesome use of the sprays throughout the sync. The only thing I would have to complain about is the fact that audio mastering wasn't the greatest, and I think that if Shadow Gamer decides to focus more on balancing the audio, where he tries to make it a little bit more balanced instead of having clips that are higher level than others, then Shadow's going to be in pretty good shape, and he's going to have a pretty awesome second round sync on his hands if he decides to focus on that.
2nd place is ZOV Black with 60.94 points.
Zeto Black had an awesome entry here. This is an absolutely badass sync, absolutely quality, pretty cool CC, pretty cool sense of beat, and a really badass choice of song that he used there. And the weapons choice for Black Ops 3, absolutely flawless. I have to say, good solid sync from beginning to end with good flow and good accuracy throughout the sync. Absolutely awesome job, Zeto Black.
And the 1st place, well, it's kind of obvious, but it's exclusively Woodbox. Now Andy got wood because he has 70.80 points. I think he's the only one who actually got over 70 points. Yeah. Yep. After that, it's 67 points, so you are... Nerdbox is actually the one with the most points in the groups, so he's kind of the winner in round 1. But let me tell you that they are fucking Nerdbox. I will fucking grind your wood. If you get into the final, I will fucking kill you. You fucking piece of shit.
Nothing screams perfection like this sync right here. Absolutely awesome choice of weapons, absolutely awesome sense of beat and variety, good editing quality, just everything about this sync just screamed perfection to me. And I really love the creative transitions that he has with the characters and the 3rd person. Absolutely cool addition to this sync. I love this sync. It was awesome.
So, coming to Group C, we have the 8th place goes to Mod Cruz Pony. Why do we have so stupid names? Mod Cross Pon Free, I think, with 40.18 points.
I have to say that he put in some pretty good effort into this sync, but the biggest problem with this sync was audio mastering. Audio mastering was not the greatest with this sync, where a lot of clips were a lot louder than others, especially when it transitioned games, which was probably the score that brought it down the most.
7th place with Just the Gamer with 47.86 points. Just the Gamer, just a little tip for you, because I remember it right now, I really do. In the beginning your gunsync was pretty good, but the color correction at the end, some of us even had to just close the video because it was so horrible. Just the eyes were just...
Well, this guy had some pretty solid choice of weapons and some really good sense of beat throughout the beginning. But I will say that the editing quality kind of goes down with this sync because the CC, also known as color correction, there was a huge overexposure of CC, which hindered the ability to watch some of the sync. But I definitely think that it definitely hurts his editing quality and viewing experience with that type of CC exposure.
Yeah. 6th place goes to Make It Rain. You didn't see that. 51.68 points.
Make It Rain sync was pretty good, but there was just a missing punch there, where there was a lot of beats that were missing potential, I would say, where there was a lot of beats that weren't synced to the song that were kind of like missed. There was like a middle part of the sync where he completely ignored the fast percussion beats, and he could have synced those to add some extra points to it. But I would say that really solid score for Make It Rain, so don't be discouraged that you're in 6th place. You got a competitive division there.
5th place goes to Giral. He has 59.24 points.
The sync was really well put together, but the big downfall of the sync was the audio mastering. I think that the audio mastering could have been improved a little bit, where there was so many guns shooting off at once. There was so much going on where there were certain points where you couldn't really hear some of the shots being shot off, especially when it gets to the point where there's like 6 different hands going off at once and you don't hear the LMGs in the bottom and stuff like that. But I have to say that despite that, Jarrell still put out an awesome sync, and I still think that Jarrell's sync was really strong, and the only reason that he's in 5th place is because the other 4 syncers in his group just one-upped him just a little bit. But I have to say, great effort from Jarrell.
4th place is... oh god damn it. I hope I speak that out right. What? Trochoi 1999? What? Trochoi... whatever that guy with 60.14 points.
I have to say that he had a very fast and furious sync, and I really loved the flow of this sync. But the biggest problem, I would say, is the fact that it was a little bit on the shorter side and not really as creative compared to the rest of the syncs out there. But I love this sync from beginning to end, and he got beat out by a really good syncer, or a really good set of 3 syncers here. So Vua Choi should be proud of finishing where he is. He put everything he's got into this sync, and he did a good job, man. Good job to you, Choi. Hats off to you.
Now we have the winners of the quarterfinal. First one is Nguyen, I think it's spelled like that. He has 60.80 points.
Nguyen Nam's sync, oh my god. This was absolutely beautiful in terms of the visuals, but I'd say that the biggest downfall with this sync, and I'm surprised that Vua Choi did not beat him in this regard, was audio mastering. I think that audio mastering could have definitely been improved with this sync, especially when the Overwatch part popped up. But the big reason that he's in 3rd place was the fact that he had some really awesome creative transitions. He chose some really difficult songs to sync, and his complexity score was huge with this in particular. I mean, I would have given him more 9s and 10s if he mastered the audio a little bit better, but he still got some really solid scores across the board, and that was enough for him to move on to the next round.
2nd place is Commander Derp with 60.82 points.
Commando Derp had an awesome sync from beginning to end. A really epic song with some great choice of weapons to fit right into the song, and I really think that that was his biggest strength there. And I would say that the only issue with this is there were certain parts that had minor audio distortions, especially when it came to the beginning of the sync. But other than that, I think that Commando's sync was absolutely on point.
And first place is Mr. Bleach himself, Dr. Jayton. I don't even have a doctor. With 67.68 points.
This sync was absolutely awesome. I really loved how he tried to add in the CSGO sounds in there just to add some variety to it, which definitely added his creativity score a little bit more. The only thing I would say with this sync in particular is maybe try to focus down on where to add in the CSGO sound some more, but I still think that for the first time that he did something like this, he did an excellent job at that.
Going through Group D, we have 8th place goes to Acer Gaming. He didn't finish, but he had a good reason because his computer didn't work. Not like you, true Lenders, get your shit together. Like seriously, his excuse was that his parents just went on vacation with him. Like that shit's planned. Not like, hey son, we got the luggage, let's go. Grab your shit. Nope, doesn't work like that.
Unfortunately, he got a DNF, but I give him mad respect because he did try his ass off with the editing and his competition and stuff, and I know he was editing on his phone and stuff like that, or at least that's what I heard, but unfortunately his software crashed on him, so press F to pay respects to Acer Gaming for trying.
So, 7th place is Tachibana Yukino with 33.98 points.
And I think that the biggest issue with Yokino was the editing quality and the viewing experience. And just looking at this sync, there was a lot of audio mastering issues, accuracy issues, and stuff like that. And I think that if he focuses those guys down, he'll definitely have some better syncs in the future. And I would say that also the fact that he forgot to disable resample also kind of contributed to his lack of viewing experience score as well. So my suggestion, Yokino, disable resample.
6th place is Useless Nukes with 43.28 points. Looks like that nuke was useless after all.
Useless Nukes produced a pretty decent sync, and I think that it was definitely better than his last year's submission. But I do think that the weakness of this sync lies within the accuracy. In terms of the accuracy of this sync, there was a couple of mishaps that kind of interrupted the flow of the sync, and I think that that sense of beat goes down a little bit as well, just because the accuracy did not really help the sync flow as much. And I think that Useless Nuke should focus more on the accuracy in his upcoming syncs.
5th place is Turtle with 49.64 points.
My main complaint with Turtle's sync was just simply the gun choices that he made, especially with the silent sniper rifle during the second drop and the overusage of the EM1. If he could focus down choosing better weapons for better perspective places that actually sound a little bit better for that certain part of the sync, I think that Turtle will be in great shape. But other than that, pretty good variety, decent editing quality, and a pretty good sync at that.
4th place is, that was a pretty close one, Cherry with 53.88 points.
Cherry's sync was pretty good, but I do think that there was a couple of problems in terms of the very beginning of the sync and the very end. There was a lot of missed beats and just a lot of missed potential in just those two parts. The rest of the sync was pretty solid, good sprays, good usage of the weapons, and a pretty good song to use. I also thought that his usage of the tactical insert and the riot shield worked out really well in his favor as well. One of the better usages of those two particular weapons compared to other people's entries. But I do think overall, Cherry put out a really good solid sync, but if he added in a little bit more potential to it, he would have definitely have beaten the guy in 3rd place.
Now we get to do 3 winners. 3rd place is Sparkles with 56.88 points.
He barely got past this round just because he had a lot of issues with audio mastering and stuff like that. But I'd say that the only reason that he beats out Cherry is the fact that he put his fullest potential to the sync, added in some nice creative edits, and he had a pretty good solid choice of weapons. So good job to Sparkles.
2nd place with Shark, 59.14 points.
Shark had a pretty awesome sync with great accuracy and precision throughout. Lots of good effects that enhance the sync, but did not take away from the audio portion of the sync. The only complaint that I have with this sync is the overuse of the modified TV simulator effect. But other than that, great choice of weapons, great accuracy, and awesome sense of beat. Great job, Shark.
And Asmo, my French fuck buddy, with 62.44 points.
This sync was definitely one of my favorite Battlefield syncs from Asmo thus far. Although he could have tried to be more creative with the sync, this is still a very flawless sync in terms of choice of weapons and sense of beat. In terms of audio mastering, it is one of the best quality audio mastering syncs that we have seen so far. Awesome job, Asmo.
That means Sparkles, Shark and Asmo go through. Congratulations. Now to Group E. 8th place goes to Toasty with 33.14 points.
The reason that Toasty's score is relatively low in this competition is the fact that there was a lot of missed potential in this sync. Lots of lack of variety and a huge lack in creativity itself. The choice of weapons may be decent, but unfortunately the execution of this sync needs some work. Although, I do have to congratulate Toasty for being the first female to compete in this competition.
The only woman, last place. She's a rookie. 7th place goes to Zaparat. Whatever. That guy with the weird lightning and forbidden. Sorry, is it a Z? What the fuck is that even? Zaparat, make a new logo for fuck's sake. He has 36.76 points.
In this particular sync, Zap had the same exact problem as Toasty. Not a great choice of weapons, though, is the only thing I would add to this. But in terms of the actual execution itself, it's not really that great. There's a lot of overusage of certain weapons, the sense of beat is not the best, and you could use some more gun variety. But in terms of this gun sync, I have to say, you put in some decent effort and good work, Zap.
6th place is Spectrum with 42.42 points.
Spectrum's biggest issue with this particular sync was audio mastering. The sync started out okay, but when the drop hit, there was a lot of audio mastering issues, especially since the music seemed to have overpowered the sync. Considering he chose to sync multiple games, the amount of variety in the sync was also considered to be low. So my main criticism here, Spectrum, would be try to add in some more variety if you're going to add in multiple games, and make sure to check your audio mastering to be sure the music is not overpowering the actual gun sounds.
5th place is Styles with 46.20 points.
Styles' variety of games and variety of weapons definitely helped out with his score in terms of variety. But the biggest complaint that I have with this sync is the editing quality. There's a lot of frame skips and it's relatively repetitive in terms of the audio and the visuals. But I will say that his gun choice was pretty good. I really liked the Infinite Warfare guns that he used. I really liked that he went through separate games, and his gun choice was pretty good. But in terms of what he needs to work on, make sure not to have a lot of frame skips, but also just in general to pay attention to the editing quality for next time.
4th place is Shiro with 49.34 points.
Shiro had a pretty good solid sync with some pretty nice visuals and pretty good nice solid choice of weapons. But I will say that he did focus a little bit too much on the visuals instead of the audio. The audio wasn't really properly mastered on Shiro's end, and he focused thus too much on the visuals. Basically, that's the only complaint I have with this sync, and I would say for Shiro to focus on trying to balance the audio and the visuals together for next time.
And now to the 3 winners. 3rd place is Jabba Turtle with 57.56 points.
Jabber's sync was absolutely flawless in terms of choice of weapons, sense of beat, and as well as the editing quality and the viewing experience. But the biggest complaint that I have is the fact that it lacks that variety and creativity. Going into the next round, I really hope that Jabber's sync has also a lot more complexity put into it as well. The fact that he lacks those 3 categories is the only reason why he's in 3rd place and not 1st.
2nd place is Keen Falcon with 59.48 points. And the winner is Lightning VN with 62.42 points.
I was really impressed with this sync when I first saw it. The choice of weapons was great, awesome sense of beat, great creativity, and awesome editing quality to it, nice visuals, and pretty good audio. This was by far Keen Falcon's best gun sync that he's ever produced so far.
Congratulations to those persons. I put the groups in randomizer and I got the results for the semi-final. To the persons who got into the groups. Group 1 is Shark, Lightning VN, Keen Falcon, Nguyen Nam, Master VN. Second place, second group is Asmo, Commander Dirt, ZOV Black, Shadow Gamer and Explorer. Third place is Dr. Jayton, Nerdbox, Kiddo, Sparkles 100 HD and Jabba Turtle. Will be pretty interesting. And as I said, all of those people who get into the final round, I will be your enemy. Makes it a bit funnier, doesn't it?
So that will conclude this year's Kings of Syncs 2017 Round 1 results. The next sync, the second round gun sync, will be due on July 24th. Good luck to the 15 remaining competitors, and thank you to everybody who competed in this year's
to Orb Sheet.